Jubilation rented the air as Ekiti Pavilion, located along New Inn Road. The venue of Sunday's Ekiti State Governor, Mr. Abiodun Oyebanji's inauguration was jam-packed and split over to the adjoining street. While addressing the people shortly after his inauguration, Governor Oyebanji promised to run an all-inclusive governance that would make Ekiti a land where prosperity, abundance, unity, and equity will thrive and blossom. Oyebanji stated this in his government will place high premium on human capital development, agriculture and rural development, infrastructure and industrialization, arts, culture and tourism, and good governance to transform Ekiti and make it a microcosm of development. The inauguration was attended by the presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and many governors, among other top-rated and illustrious Nigerians. And here in Ogun State, the state governor, Prince Dapo Abiodun, has approved the official commencement of the annual town hall meetings in 3 senatorial districts in preparation for the year 2023 to 2025 medium-term expenditure framework and 2023 budget. In a statement signed by the Commissioner for Budget and Planning, Mr. Olaolu Olabinton, indicated that the Ogun East senatorial meeting is scheduled to hold on Monday, October 17, 2022 at BC Rodipe Event Center in Beba, GRA, Ijebu-Ode. The statement added that participants are expected to be seated at the venue by 10 in the morning, while officers on the post of assistant directors and above in the state public service and representatives of interest groups across the state, including traditional, religious, and political leaders, trade and market associations, professional bodies, civil society groups, student unions, among others, are also invited to the meeting. Christians have been charged to always be grateful to God, be cheerful givers, and pray continually for the good of their society. The wife of Ogun State Governor, Mrs. Bamidele Abiodun, gave the charge at the 2022 Diocesan Harvest Thanksgiving of Diocese of Ijebu Southwest, Church of Nigeria Anglican Communion. Margaret Okunlola reports.
Cathedral Church of St. Paul, Odogbolu, Ogun State, played host to members of Diocese of Ijebu Southwest, Church of Nigeria Anglican Communion, Anglican Christian Fellowship, and Anglican Youth Fellowship for the 2022 Diocesan Harvest Thanksgiving. The wife of Ogun State Governor, Mrs. Bamidele Abiodun, was represented by the wife of the Speaker of the State House of Assembly, Mrs. Bolanle Oluomo, who led members of the Spouses of Ogun State Government Functionaries Association, SOSFA, to the event. Mrs. Oluomo read the second lesson from Luke chapter 12, verse 13 to 21, alongside other dignitaries in attendance. Delivering an address by the wife of Ogun State Governor, the wife of the Secretary to Ogun State Government, Mrs. Derin Talabi, said occasions like this are in clear obedience to God's word, to thank him on how good he has been.
In the words of the famous song, we should always learn to count our blessings every day so that even when things seem bleak and the future looks uncertain, we can be sure to see God's faithfulness all around us.
With the theme, Harvest of Divine Turnaround, the preacher urged all present to be cheerful givers, courageous while trusting God completely.
Most of the time, we plow our money where we will be defrauded. But if you bank wisely in the bank of the Lord, you will reap plenty harvest, because God can never defraud anybody.
The Diocesan Bishop of the Diocese of Ijebu Southwest, Church of Nigeria Anglican Communion, Right Reverend Babatunde Ogunbanwo also called on Christians to be worthy ambassadors of Christ and role models. Margaret Okunola, OGTV News.
The spinal cord is the most important structure between the body and the brain. It provides a pathway messages sent to and from the brain to the body. And the special report, Ayodeji Oluwumi, takes a special look at the spinal cord being an important part of the body as the world celebrates Spine Day. His reports.
Every 16th of October is celebrated globally as World Spine Day. The spine is an important element of the body and its functions cannot be overemphasized. It is necessary to erect the body and as such must be taken care of.
World Spine Day is meant to create a consciousness in our people about how to keep themselves upright, how to keep themselves mobile, and how to take care of themselves.
Awareness is like we want people to know the importance of a particular part of the body, a particular condition. When you tell people about something, it makes them understand the importance they have to place on that particular thing.
Now having to look at the spine on a day like this is really very important if we look at the global body of problems that emanate when there is an injury to the spine. People can suffer back pain, people can suffer loss of movement, probably in the lower limbs or the upper limbs, that is the legs or the hands.
There are so many ways to achieve a healthy spine. As physiotherapists advocate medical routine checks for people already suffering pains along the spine.
There are some that has to do with your habits. We call some sleeping habits, because there is a particular posture you have to sleep. If you sleep in a wrong posture, it has an adverse effect on the spine. It could be the neck, sometimes it could be the lower back. Then activities, like daily activities, like there are some that carry heavy load on the neck. Of course, the adverse effect, the mechanical effect on the neck, even the general body or the general back, it might not be the day they started. Over time, as they continue that activity, it will get to a point that the spine will say, I cannot continue.
When we go to the neck and the upper back, that is the thoracic spine, we need to be very careful too about our sitting posture, our sleeping posture, the postures we assume when doing our daily chores or our normal activities of daily living.
The shape of the spine is an S shape. Anything going outside of that S shape, you are putting your spine in an awkward manner. And so you are bound to suffer one problem or the other. Exercises work for practically everything that I know about our health. So exercising your body gives you a stronger musculature at your back, and then it supports the spine too. So you need exercises to maintain very good health.
The theme emphasizes diversity of spine pain and disability as part of the global burden of disease and addresses the need for access to quality essential spinal health services worldwide. Ayodeji Oluwumi, OGTV News.
The Ogun State government has noted the publication of a report as contained in the multiple indicator cluster survey, rating the state as having the highest infant mortality rate in the southwest of Nigeria. Multiple indicator cluster survey is conducted every 2 years by the Bureau of Statistics with support from partners in order to fill the data gap for monitoring the situation of children and mothers' health. The survey had in recent statistics recorded Ogun State as having the highest record of deaths of children between the ages of 0 and 5 years, as well as postnatal care for newborns in the southwestern part of the country. But the state government, in a statement by the Commissioner for Health, Dr. Tomi Koka in Abeokuta, cleared the air on the recent results released in the last mix in Ibadan, Oyo State. Koka said that the state government was not unaware of the health position of women and children in the state. The situation is not as painted by the publication. She stated that the report also made it clear that the sample size were not adequate for majority of indicators in the state, thereby making the report a poor presentation of the true picture of infant health in the state. Towards highlighting the plight of millions of people who cannot afford healthy diet and the need for regular access to nutritious food worldwide, 16th of October of every year has been set aside to celebrate the World Food Day by the United Nations. Matthew Showumi in the special report takes a look at the importance of the day, what it means, and the challenges of hunger, inadequate food production, and starvation on the African continent, and the way forward. His reports.
With Leave No One Behind as the theme, the World Food Day is being marked in a year with multiple global challenges, including the aftermath of pandemic, conflicts, climate change, rising prices, and international tensions, all of which have negatively impacted global food security. The importance of food for human survival and general well-being of man has made not just its abundance, but with certain quality, a challenge that every society must first address, even in the face of many challenges facing the world.
It's also very important for people to know about how food is produced and how it gets to their table and the problems we are having with food production.
When you look at the expended money for food security, Africa topped the list too. And the President of World Bank and the Secretary of United Nations should bear in mind, they should hold every money coming into Africa for food security and then re-strategize the mode of dispensing such money to the real core farmers.
For us in the state, every day is our World Food Day. But we identify ourselves with this global attention on that day as the World Food Day. Because when the Excellency gave us governor, we made adequate preparation for food sufficiency in the state.
As the continent with high number of people facing food shortages and starvation, the day no doubt calls for introspection by the people, stakeholders in food production, and leaders of the African continent and Nigeria.
Government ensuring that the process of getting food to the table of the average Nigerian is seamlessly organized in such a manner that nobody suffers, that the farmer doesn't suffer any form of disaster, doesn't suffer any form of loss on his farm, and does not suffer any form of physical injury in the process of food production. These are very, very important.
Improved food production with high nutrition quality has been one of the tripods of the current administration's policy on agriculture, and the man at the forefront of the implementation of this policy, Dr. Adeola Odedino, speaks on how the state has been able to achieve landmark in this area.
Everybody's happy. Farmers are happy because they've been trained on how to increase yield. And consumers are happy because they're buying cheap products. It's a win-win situation. And that's why farmers say that we look because farmers are using improved material and they're getting more yield. That's why they are going to lower their prices. And it's not only farmers again. The highest concentration of industry employing youth and using cassava for high quality products like ethanol.
Another time for the world to look for ways of giving access to quality food by more people in the world. Matthew Showumi, OGTV News.
The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, has arrested a pregnant woman, a nursing mother, and a 200-level university student for drug abuse and peddling. The Director of Media and Advocacy, NDLEA, Mr. Femi Babafemi, said this in a statement on Sunday in Abuja. Babafemi said the suspects were among 28 persons arrested with 9,437.6 kilograms of cannabis and 138.53 tablets of pharmaceutical opioids, among others, by operatives of NDLEA. It said the suspects were arrested during interdiction operations across 12 states and the Federal Capital Territory FCT, Abuja. He named the states as Yobe, Ondo, Edo, Rivers, Akwa Ibom, Imo, Jigawa, Kogi, Adamawa, Kaduna, Kwara, Lagos, and the FCT, Abuja. Babafemi said at least 99 bags of cannabis and 3 bags of its seeds, weighing 1,286 kilograms, were seized on October 13, when operatives raided a location in the area of Ondo State. As Nigerians continue to lament the impact of flooding across the country, the federal government has said the country was not yet out of the wood, disclosing that 5 states are still at a risk of experiencing flooding up to November this year. This came as it disclosed that the natural disaster claimed 603 lives, affected over 2 million persons, and displaced over 1 million persons across the country. Similarly, the government disclosed that the disaster injured 2,407 persons, partially damaged over 121,000 houses, totally damaged 82,053 houses, partially damaged 108,392 hectares of farmlands, and totally damaged 33,032 hectares of farmlands, all across Nigeria. The government, which named the states still at risk this year as Anambra, Delta, Cross River, Rivers, and Bayelsa, have called for immediate evacuation of residents of the identified areas to avert a catastrophic outcome. Over 200 communities in 4 local councils of Rivers State, namely in Ahoada West, Ahoada East, and Abeokuta, have been displaced by ravaging flood. Also, 6 persons lost their lives while trying to cross through the flood to the road at Ihoeke community in Ahoada's axis of the east-west road. An eyewitness said a woman and her son were swept off by the flood, while the baby was later found dead. The mother has since remained missing. It was also gathered that 8 persons in a boat were also swept off by a flood, leaving 4 dead while others survived. The Orashi region of the state comprised the 3 councils experienced by worst flooding in 2012, where several lives were lost. Also in 2016, 2017, 2018, and 2020. Flooding wreaked havoc in Rivers State, but no concrete actions was taken by the government to address it. Following its receipt of a viral video with female voices alleging in a mixture of Igbo and English languages that in the afternoon hours of Friday, helicopters dropped unknown persons, numbering about 100, on the top of Ugwa Ajali Hill, bordering Ologo, Jamboree, and Coal Camp area of Enugu. The State Police Command informed the residents of the said locations and the entire state to disregard the information. The police said it was clearly doctored, and information therein is fake and purely a product of the mongers' figment of imagination and disinformation aimed at misleading and creating panic and confusion amongst law-abiding citizens of the state. This was made known in a statement by the state police spokesperson, Daniel Ndokwe, and obtained on Sunday. The command noted that being mindful of the negative impact of disinformation on public peace, security, and safety under age, it was calling on residents to totally disregard the unfounded and fake video, as there is no record of such incident in the mentioned location or any parts of the state. The CP also enjoined residents to continue to promptly report criminals and acts of criminality to the nearest police station. The Borno State Police Command said it had incorporated about 1,800 police constabulary to complement the efforts of security agencies in combating crimes in the state. The Commissioner of Police, CP Abdul Umar, who disclosed this to journalists in Maiduguri on Sunday, said the newly recruited volunteers were currently receiving orientations on what was expected of them in the discharge of their duties. Umar said that the constables would be deployed to their communities across the 27 local government areas in the state for effective community policing. It said that the community policing constabulary scheme of the force was purely voluntary service introduced by the federal government to train and incorporate individuals with prior paid employment who desire to spend their spare time assisting the police in its simple police task within their various communities. He explained that their roles would include assisting the police in crime detection and prevention, conflict resolution, intelligence gathering, and dissemination to local police commanders. 16 young Nigerians have been deported by the Ghanaian government for engaging in cybercrime. It was learned that the 16 young men were arrested in Ghana when operatives attached to Ghana Economic and Financial Crime raided their residences. The returnees, who were received by immigration officers led by Comptroller Seme-Border Command, Chukweme Kadika, said they were arrested by Ghana immigration officials who raided their residence and deported by the country. Speaking on the sad development, Comptroller Seme-Border Command, Dr. Chukweme Kadike, said the 16 deportees who were harvested and brought back from Ghana have been accused by the Ghana Economic and Financial Crime of getting involved in cybercrime. He, however, encouraged Nigerians traveling out of the country to get genuine traveler documents as well as legitimate sources of livelihood. The President of the United States, Joe Biden, has called Liz Truss's original economic policies a mistake. In an unusual intervention, he said the economic turmoil that followed the government's mini-budget had been predictable. Speaking at an ice cream shop, Mr. Biden was asked by reporters about the Prime Minister's attempt to boost growth with unfunded tax cut, what the reporter called the trickle-down plan that she has had to back away from. Mr. Biden has long been critical of economic theory at the heart of the Prime Minister's policy, namely that cutting taxes on businesses and the rich generates growth that allows wealth to trickle down to all sectors of society. But it is unusual for the President of the United States to be so critical of the leaders of one of America's closest allies. 4 prisoners have died and 61 have been injured following a major fire at Iran's notorious Evin prison. Sources inside the prison, which is known for housing political prisoners, have told journalists the number of casualties is higher. Video shared online showed flames and smoke at the site in Tehran, and gunshots and explosions could be heard. Iran has been gripped for weeks by anti-government protests. According to the source, 4 of those who were injured are in critical condition, as said. The report added that it is not yet known whether the situation at the prison is linked to the recent demonstrations. And in the world of sport, Qatar said on Sunday that more than 1.5 million people have applied for the compulsory pass for the Football World Cup, which begins on November 20, 2022. Head of the Higher Pass Service, Saad Al-Suwaidi, said that between 1.5 million and 1.7 million people have so far applied for the card that acts as a visa, match ticket, transport ticket, and gives access to some fan zones. All travelers to Qatar will need the pass to enter from November 1, whether they intend to watch a game or not. Qatar has said it expects more than 1 million foreign visitors, as well as hundreds of thousands of domestic fans. International supporters have to apply for the pass after buying tickets and securing accommodation. Premier League leaders Arsenal held to win at Leeds in a dramatic finish after the match had been delayed by about 40 minutes because of a power outage. There was a drama in stoppage time when referee Chris Kingara sent off Arsenal's Gabriel for kicking out at Leeds strike Patrick Bamford and awarded the host a penalty, but both decisions were overturned after he reviewed the incident on the pitch side monitor. Earlier, he halted the match after 23 seconds of play because of a power cut at Eland Road, which meant Cavart lost communication with the video assistant referee VAR officials, while goal line technology was down too. Once they got going again, the impressive Bukayo Saka scored the winning goal in the first half by punishing Rodrigo's loose pass, exchanging passes with Martin Odegaard before smashing high in the near post. Liverpool put their recent Premier League struggles behind to end Manchester City's unbeaten run in an entertaining and hot-tempered encounter at Anfield, which saw Jurgen Klopp sent off. City, fueled by the goals of Erling Haaland, were in prime condition, but Liverpool finally found the form which has deserted them for much of the season to overcome the reigning champions. Haaland, for once, was not on the score sheet, and it was Liverpool's talisman Mohamed Salah who made the vital contribution, racing to a clearance from keeper Alisson after Joao Cancelo's slip to beat Ederson with a composed finish with 14 minutes left. In a frantic finale, Tempere's board over the club was sent off by referee Anthony Taylor for his protest after he felt Salah was fouled. But when temperatures cool, he will be overjoyed by a statement win. Clinical Real Madrid beat Barcelona in the 250 El Clasico to go top of La Liga and inflict their rivals' first league defeat of the season. Karim Benzema scored Real's opener after Vinicius Junior's shot had been saved into his path by Marco Andre, and Federico Valde doubled the champions, led before half-time with a lovely 20-yard drive. Ferran Torres pulled one back from Robert Lewandowski's flick on, but Rodri settled it with a penalty. The rivals started the day when the wins and a draw from their opening 8 games, but Real go 3 points clear now as they remain unbeaten. This was the first away La Liga defeat in almost a year in charge of Barcelona for Xavi. We take a break, and when we return, it will be time for People and Event. Do stay with us.